So I'm getting ready to do some live streaming and I don't know if it's going to work. We're going to give it a try. Oh, I think it might be working. Look at this. So it's giving me my stream health. The internet can totally see me now is what YouTube is telling me. That's kind of awesome. I'm just going to minimize this so you can see better what this is. And actually too soon. So I'm really new at this, guys. Just bear with me for a minute. Here I am. And I am going to do a little bit of drawing and chatting with you while I do so here on YouTube. I was painting and drawing this morning and I was doing it all by myself and it got a little lonely here in my house, so this was the first thing that I painted, drew today. It's a picture that I saw on Instagram. It's a picture of a lady standing on a balcony in Havana, Cuba, and you can see here she's got her clothes hanging out on the line and everything is nice and toasty warm, and I drew a few little pictures here. So I thought I would try this setup where you can see my Instagram on the screen and you can see my hands while I draw, and I'm gonna just do some really live painting and drawing. I'll have a little check over in the chat bar and see if anybody's here. I don't know if anybody's here yet because I'm still new at this, trying to make sure everything works. So let me just look over here at the screen. Oh, look, I cut it all off. You couldn't even see what I was showing you. This was what I was showing you. And let me just have a look. I seem to have some hellos. Yes, I do. So it takes me right off camera, doesn't it, when I go to read this stuff? There's probably a better way for me to set this up, but not right now. Maybe next time I'll put my two computers right beside each other. That's probably the best thing. You know what? I'm just going to do that. I'm going to take 2 seconds and set that up properly. I'm still here. I'm going to keep talking. Can you hear me? Can you guys let me know in the chat if you can hear me? That would be good to know. Thanks. While I move my other computer. I'm moving my other computer so I can see the chat, because it's kind of pointless if you guys are chatting with me if I can't see it. So let me just make a lot of noise and move some things without breaking anything. That's the trick. Moving things without breaking things is important. Now, power management is important also. So let me see here. Turns around. Hey, so what we got going on here? You hear me? Excellent. Tammy Sue Davis and Jacqueline from Florida. So you can't see me right now, but I'm getting things set up so I can do it all. Huh. That's the crazy part of this. Okay, I'm coming back. I'm coming back. All right, so I'm coming back. I am coming back. 4 people. No, 9 people. Nice. Hey, where is everyone that you happen to be able to tune in at this time of day? Because I'm in Canada, and this time of day for me is totally middle of the day, which is when I work. So, moving over so I can see everything. Sorry for the craziness. This is the nature of live streams, isn't it? You get to deal with me learning things. All right, so I wish I had a mouse on my other computer, which I don't. So let me just see. Florida, yeah, that's awesome. And 8 people are watching. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to have a look here at my Instagram feed, and I'm going to do a little search for, well, for example, this most recent picture that I posted on Instagram has some hashtags, and the first one here is Havana. So when I was, I'm not even sure where to look at this moment. Let me see here. I'm not a pro. North Carolina, awesome. I've been to Florida and North Carolina, if you can believe it. So this picture here that I drew of Havana was inspired by a picture that I saw on Instagram. So I could just click on the hashtag here and see if we can come up with some other beautiful pictures of Havana that I might draw. So let's see here. I do like drawing buildings and other like regular things. I'm not going to draw people. I'm new into this thing where I like to do watercolors, sketches, And oh, someone's in Ireland. Awesome. Hey, from Ireland. Someone else from the USA. Sweet. Yeah, so I like to draw, like, okay, this one's pretty cool. This is like a really cool sky and a really cool statue with a picture of a really old car from Cuba. But yeah, lately I've been doing these types of pen and ink sketches where I then go ahead and paint it with watercolors. And this morning I was wanting to go outside to do some sketching, but the weather wasn't very good, so I stayed in and just looked at Instagram and created this picture of a Havana building. And the other day I was watching a movie. I was watching that one with Julia Roberts called Eat, Pray, Love, and I drew a picture of one of the scenes from this particular movie, and I painted it. So this is new for me. I'm not watercolors haven't been the main type of art that I usually do. So I'm just getting into it. But I'm gonna look for some feedback from you guys. I've got someone in the panhandle. I keep trying to use my mouse. My mouse is on this computer. My comments are on that computer, and there's no mouse on that one. So if I'm gonna keep this going, I'm going to have to get more coordinated. My apologies. Thank you for bearing with me. So if you guys want to chat about anything art related, that would be awesome. And if you want to give me some ideas about which picture I should choose for this next, I like this one. I think that one's good. But let's see what else we can find here that's in Cuba. Maybe would be, oh yes, lots of women on the beach in Cuba. Or maybe some other architecture. I don't even know. I've been to Cuba myself, and I think it's pretty cool. So let me just see here. I'd like to be able to see more things on my stream. Like, for example, how many people are here and the conversation, and also the view that you get of right here, which is pretty good. Okay, let me choose a pen. First of all, I have this pile of pens that I can use. I just recently did a video on is it waterproof. Did you see that one? Because I have all these pens in my case, and then sometimes I use one and I put watercolors over it and it's not so waterproof. And that one, the one that's least waterproof is my Muji, and I took that one out. So maybe I will use my Prismacolor today and pack these other ones in. Like so. And I'm going to turn on my phone cam as well when I get started here, and maybe make a time-lapse video out of this mess that I might make today. All right, so I've got my tiny tin. It's just a little Altoids tin, and I'm going to use this for the colors that I'll be painting with today. And I can also use, I have a Koi watercolor sketch kit. That's this one here. And this is the one that I most recently did some swatches for so I could get all my colors figured out. So I know I have a waterproof pen, and I know I have watercolors, and I know I have some blank paper. All I need now is to figure out what I'm going to draw. So let me check out my stream here. Waterproof lesson with Tombow brush markers. Yeah, Tammy Sue, I love Tombow brush markers. Not waterproof, unfortunately, right? They're water-based, actually, so they blend really well and smudge really well. But if you're hoping to add water over them and have them not smudge, you will be sad. All right, so let's get some things out of the way here. Got my notes to myself here to keep organized. And I wonder. Okay, I'm going to stop wondering right now. I'm going to look at Instagram, and I'm going to decide which picture to draw paint. This one's interesting because it has some color in it. You see there's a big statue here in the middle, and then the sky is a really pretty blue, and there's some green in the trees. There's this old car. I like the colors on this one. Debating. All right, that's a possibility. So let's look for some more here. if anyone wants to give any input on what they think I should draw, paint, sketch, you can pop it into the comments section here on Instagram. No, on YouTube. I'm looking at Instagram. So yeah, if you're just tuning in, I am going to do some pen and ink on watercolor paper and create some art. Yeah, today. That's what I'm gonna do. First, right now, I'm choosing something to do. Looking for something to do. So right now, I'm going to look through this Insta feed. So this looks like a picture of a famous Instagrammer, but I think it's just like a, yeah, it's somebody who's done the same thing. Have you seen these ones where they have like the girl holding hands with the guy walking through places? These are beautiful buildings. I wonder if I can find that on here. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, this is the picture that I painted earlier. I don't know if you can see the similarities or not, but I will show you them at the same time here. And that was fun to do. And I'm just going to keep on looking here through some other pictures of Cuba. They've been doing a lot of updating in Havana to try to bring things to a more modern standard. They struggle in Cuba. There's good reasons for that, I guess. We won't get into the politics, but let's just keep looking and see if we can find a cool picture to paint, draw in Cuba. So I'm going to look here. Someone's got to go. Okay, well, it was great to see you, Assad. Okay, anything on a back street with old model cars. Okay, that's a great idea. I like it. I like it. Let's find a back street in Cuba with old model cars. Well, there's one, but not enough cars. Cars are challenging. This is going to be fun. I'm not the best at drawing cars, so we'll see. Oh, I like this also. All right, so we have this really interesting old rock building. We've got like the beach. There's a little boy here in the foreground and a car. I'm kind of digging this one. What do you think? What do you think of this one? We're going to call this beach car. What do you think? Do you want to vote for this one? Beach car could be good. And I am watching the chat, having to change its settings. Okay, so let's see, street scene, vintage car. Let's check this out. Oh, here we have a beetle in front of a building. Okay, Tammy Sue likes it. I do too. I think I'm going to go with that one. If I can find it again. It should be right around here. Oh, no, it went to vintage. There it is. Nice. Okay, let's do this one. Okay, so now you can see me, but I'm mostly going to be looking either at the chat or at my hands. So what's going to happen now is I'm going to draw this picture and paint it. But so first I have to start with drawing it. And I have to look at the details. So when I start a drawing, I try to figure out where I'm going to place it on the page. I'm going to bring this down, see if we can get you all in frame here. So many details, technical things. Technical. So I try to decide where in the frame I want it to be. And then I work with that. So let's see here. Let's see. I'm going straight to pen, and I'm looking at angles. So I like to hold up my pen here and look at the angle of that balcony. And then I'm going to take that angle, I'm going to put it on my paper. So I do this when I'm drawing in real life also. And now I just see this line in my head, and that's going to be the first line that I make. It's a long line, and it's going to go right here. So I'll start at the corner of the balcony, and it's going to go across like this. Okay, so that's the entire balcony. Now it's got some railings that come down like this, and then another line that's going to come on a diagonal from there, right underneath. So I'll do that. And it's going to come over. So this is the bottom of the railing. All of the little, what is it? Spindles are going to come down from there. So this section is a little bit blockish. It's got a long line of cubes coming through here. So the challenge with going straight to ink is you don't get to make mistakes you can fix. You get to make mistakes, you can't fix them. So I'm going to put this in, let's see what I think. And then from there, we've got a little bit of a ledge that comes out, and it comes under and down. And then we're going to come over like so. And it's going to come over this way again. Add a little bit of foreshortening, which means this is going to get a little wider as it comes closer, like so. All right, railing. And then we've got this little edge and a support right here, like this. And then we're going to come along here, and we'll have another support right here. So I like to do some of my longer lines first. That just helps me make sure that things are going to fit in the picture. And it also gives me something to measure against afterwards. So I've got 1, 2, I'm going to have 3, 4 of these little blocks inside this little section. And then it's not going to be exact replica, obviously, of what I'm seeing. But then I'm going to add the lines for the spindles. These are just going to be wiggly lines that are come down. I'm not going to be too detailed on all this. So that's not the point. So there we go. Now we drew this little angled section. Got that done. So now we're going to look at the next thing, which is going to be the way this comes across from here. And so there's this, it comes further, and then we're going to come down. Now let's see how this is as long as this. See, I've got my thumb here. I'm measuring this distance. Now I'm going to measure it on there, on the picture, and I'm going to check. Okay, so this is going to be slightly shorter because it's slightly shorter. So there's the edge of the building, just like that. All right, and then we have like the inside angle of the underneath here, and some other things. Okay, so let's just establish that this building is here for now. Maybe I'll draw the post that's going up as well, just to grab that too. So this was here, and that comes in. It's going to go up like so, and like so, and there's a thing. Nothing important. All right, now let's look at the horizon. I'm going to check my angles here. I'm just holding my pen to check, and it's a pretty straight line. So again, I'm just going to bring this into my picture and see how far up I want it to go. And then I'm going to draw a line that represents the horizon. It's going to come right along here. This is where the water meets the sky, like this. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the car in next. That is the scary part. So I'm going to make the road. The car is fully in the road in this picture. And I don't think we have any more chat, but that's okay. I can do both. If you want to say something, I could probably check in. I see there's 7 of you here. That's awesome. All right, so let's see. I need some more perspective on this. So from this corner of the building, we've got the road coming in this direction here. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna make this line for the road. It's gonna come behind this post out to here, and then there's this shadow of the building. So the road keeps going, but this building has a dark shadow that comes in here like this. And that gives me a place to put the car, which is what I really needed. So let's see. We're going to start by deciding something like, where is this going to go? Okay, here we go. Figure it out, figure it out. Let's check how long it is. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to measure the car on the picture. So here I go, measuring the car on the picture. And it is, Okay, got it. So it's as long as this end of my pen cap. Now I'm turn this way and we'll see how long that is compared to. Okay, so half as long as this. So if this is this, the car will be half as long. So we're talking this long. That's how long my car is going to be. So the back of the car is going to be here. And the front of the car is going to be here. Okay. This is hilarious. Hope you're having fun. I am. I'm having fun. So that's what matters, right? And then we're going to have the fender goes over the tire, angles like this. We have a nice straight line. And then we have another little up down for the back tire, which is probably more like here. And then it goes to the back. All right, here we go. Front lights up over the hood. And it's a convertible. So we've got a hood that angles back like this. And there's a person in the car driving. And we can't see them very well. This picture's really far away. And then we're going to angle this whole thing back to the back end of the car. And we've got a bumper right there. Okay, we're getting there. Now we need wheels on the car. So draw those in. They're not very low. They hide in here. Now we've got lots of darkness across the top. So the great thing about doing pen and ink sketches is that a lot of what happens really pops when you add the color. You can cover up some mistakes that you made with color. So we got this nice line here, and then we've got the white section here. Ta-da! Okay, so that's going to be the basics of our car. The basics. Now we've got some details here and here. All right, so the rest of the magic there is going to happen in post-production. So this is the street. I said it was the water, but apparently it's just the street. So we're going to bring in the water, and we're going to make it a little higher here so that we have something to paint when we get there. Beautiful thing about this is it doesn't really matter where the water is. All right. I think it's great that we're having a chat. So what kind of, I'm curious, Tammy Sue, what kind of art do you usually do? Because I always do want to know what other people are up to. I'm kind of curious that way. So I'm going to make some more lines up here for my building. And then some more lines. These are some windows that are up above. Up above. So this is a horizontal line in the window, but everything's angled here, so I have to keep that horizontal as well. Angled the way the other horizontal lines are going, just to keep it in accurate perspective. And then we have little panel sections here. Little panel sections, probably boarded up windows actually. So let's just add another one here. And then we have just some horizontal lines to fill that in. All right. All right, all right. So now I'm just going to darken up this line now that I see what I've got going on. Pencil and chalk sketch and handwriting parchments. I wish I had better handwriting. The Wix Maker Wicked. Hello. Hello, the Wix Maker Wicked. Nice to see you here today. Yeah, I'd like to be better at lettering, but I guess I could be, right? The whole thing I always tell everyone is if you want to be better at something, you have to practice. All right, so we've got this line. And what am I going to do next? Let's bring these other lines over. So this is the top corner where the roof meets the building. Then there's a little ledge that's going to come along underneath here. And underneath here, like this. So that gives me that whole section that's a little bit darker. And it gives me a better place to figure out where the rest of the things go. So from here, I'm looking closely, there's this archway. And it's going to come down about here. And all I see on this is a curve that goes down. And then here, there's the edge of this pillar. It's going to go in like that. And then we have the arch continuing down. Well, watercolor nerve, I hear you. It's really, it takes you out of your comfort zone because you can't control it. Watercolor is a really interesting medium where it really is like its got its own ideas about what your art's going to end up like. But I love that about it. Like, I think it's great when you can give up a little bit of artistic control and let your medium sort of take over. But I like the idea of doing some ink work first, just to give it structure. Because actually, what I kind of like is when the watercolors don't stay in the lines. I'll just talk about this one for a second. But like, I didn't color in every detail of this picture, and I'm okay with that. And same thing with this lighthouse sketch that I did. The lines don't define where the color goes, and that's what makes watercolor so interesting. Same thing here with these grapes. If you look at it closely, you can see that the color of the grapes goes outside the lines, and then sometimes I don't fill it in all the way. Here I left the blank to let a little bit of like a highlight happen there. And then the shadows don't have to be the right colors. Like, nothing is actually the color that it actually is. So I think that's kind of a neat thing about watercolors, is that, you know, you can just go with it. So Jacqueline likes watercolor. It's good. Where are you, Jacqueline? Where are you located? We've been chatting here a little bit about where we are. I don't recall if you said. All right, I'm going to commit to this box here. See, I'm having a hard time with commitment right now. So this is marking the bottom of this window box, whatever it is. And then we're going to have it start to angle here. There's a little white edge to this. So I'm just going to draw a tiny edge. Now I'm going to define the box. So just checking. It is foreshortened, so it's going to have a wider top than bottom. That maybe is long enough. And then a wider at the bottom like this. And then how much further? Let's see. We've got this as reference. This is the corner of the building. It's coming down on then. Well, my perspective is a little bit off there. So we're just going to fudge it because you can. In the end, it doesn't matter. North part of Florida. Oh, yes, Panhandle. I think someone told me that. That was probably you. Jacqueline. That's an interesting name. I like it. All right, so here I'm going to make this top edge, which is trickier than it should be. Let's go grab a drink of water. Drink of water. Yeah, we've had a lot of rain here last couple of days. And spring, I guess. Rain is a good thing. But it means it's hard to get outside to paint or draw. All right, so now we're going to have this shadow coming down here and this angle coming over here. And then we've got it meeting the wall. All right, we're at it. At it. Okay, so we got this archway now to finish, which is going to come down and finish in behind this little bit. So down she comes. So I had to draw this. I had to draw the thing. You always have to draw the things in the front first. Go figure. So we're coming down from the arch like this. And then we're going to draw the edge of this block. Like so. Okay, now we can finish the bottom of this arch opening because we couldn't before. And it's coming down like this. Okay. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of people on YouTube doing watercolor lately. It's like my new obsession, and they're really good. Oh my gosh, they're really good. It's inspiring me to try to do more with this medium. I've been watching this girl. She's called Follow the White Rabbit. I think I got that right. Following the White Rabbit. She seems to be French, and she's really interesting to watch. Seems like I draw slower when I'm talking. This is not necessarily going to be the most productive live stream ever. But it's better than being by myself, because that's what I was before. Hot pressed. Oh, which paper am I using this time? This time I'm using cold pressed. And hi, Rohan. That's your question. And Tammy Sue's going to watch back later. Thanks. Thanks for tuning in. Come find out how I did. It might be horrible. And yeah, Rohan, I'm using the hot pressed paper, cold pressed. I'm using cold pressed watercolor paper. All right, so here we have the bottom of this pillar post and some stairs. Yeah. So this thing here keeps going past the door. It's always amazing. You want to draw what you think you see, but what you have to actually draw is what you really do see, which isn't always what you think, which is hard to get used to at first. It's like you want it to be exactly what you know it is, but then when you see the angles of it, it's not always the same. In fact, it's almost never the same. So here, I'm going to check my angles. So just like I did before, I used my pen. First, I checked the angle for the top edge of the building. Now I'm going to use my pen to check the bottom edge angle for the building. So that's the angle. Now I'm going to bring it in here. Yeah, I'm going okay. So this has to keep on growing closer. So here, this door opened. And so this corner here has some stairs coming down. Then we're going to bring this a little lower and a little lower. Now we have another door opening. There's a little ledge here and a door. So this line here, this top of this door, continues on so that the top of this door is got a similar angle. So it's growing bigger at the top, but it's also growing bigger at the bottom. And we call that foreshortening. Because we're using perspective. So something has a wider angle than the other. All right, that's looking pretty good. Close the door, come down here. And it seems like there's these little lips, little edges into the side of the building when it meets the door. The 3 Copic marker challenge. You know what? Actually, I was thinking that maybe what I'll do, there's I don't know if you've heard of Mark Terrell Holmes. He does a lot of plein air drawing and sketching. He has issued a challenge. It's called a 30 by 30 challenge. And he is asking people to do 30 paintings in 30 days in June. So I might do that. That's going to take up a lot of my time. So a 3 marker challenge might have to wait till July. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, here's this door. Now, let's put everything here relative to this door. So we're going to have this edge that's going to come up and over. And now this corner of this door is just about as far as that. This is going to come down like this. And then we're going to come up. And I'm talking to myself while I draw. It's just not unusual. And then going to this back meets, okay, like this. So you'll notice that what I've just drawn here is not exactly what I've seen because I started with this thing and it was not placed properly. But that's okay. I don't care. I really don't. All right. Now we've got this corner. That's going to bring some darkness back here, some shadow. It's going to come down again. In again, and then it's going to come down here and meet up with this other end. So, are you doing the 3 Copic marker challenge, Rohan? And where are you located? I'm curious. I had some Americans here. I'm in Canada, and maybe you are in another country, or maybe you're in one of those 2 that I just named. Curious. All right, so here's that open door. Now we're going to continue the line of the wall here, and we're going to build in, I drew that, so this comes down. We have 1 block width, and then we're going to do that. Okay, that's what I'm doing. I'm whispering to myself while I draw. I do that. All right, so we're getting somewhere. It's not fast, but I'm learning. I'm not in a hurry. And if it's horrible, that's okay. Do you know what? Let's talk about that for a minute. Sometimes people get frustrated when their art doesn't turn out good, or when they perceive that it didn't turn out as well as they hoped. But the fact is, hey, Susanna Orozco. Nice to see you. I'm glad you dropped in. Yeah, when you don't like your art, it's okay. Everything you do doesn't have to be wonderful. Everything I do isn't wonderful. In fact, a lot of things I do aren't wonderful. But it's okay, because we're learning. And we learn best when we make mistakes. That's a fact. So this meets here, and now that's going to come out on this angle, and then come along here to make the stair. Tricky, tricky. Tricky, tricky. Stairs. Stairs are tricky on this angle. It's okay. I'll do my best. I'll do my best. No one's going to trip on that stair. It doesn't matter if it's a little crooked. It's just a drawing. All right, so there's a wheelbarrow on the side of the road, so I'm going to draw that next. It's in front of this archway. So see the opening of the archway. I don't know, can you see this little wheelbarrow I'm drawing? It's probably very tiny on your screen, but it's in front of this door. So I'm going to do it. It takes up pretty much the whole width of the door. And first we're going to draw the little, like, pentagon that is from here. And then we're going to draw the angle here and under here. It's a cart. I don't know if it's a wheelbarrow. It's some sort of cart. It's got a wheel on it. I don't see a handle though. I see a little stand. Okay, now we're ready to finish this curve. So bring it along. And it comes behind the wheelbarrow, and it's going to angle wider as we get to this edge here. So it's going to make that mark to aim for. And again, gets wider as it comes this way. All right, now everything else that's here is the shadows from the paint. So let's go ahead and put the sign in. So the sign is coming up like this, and it's circular with a triangle in the middle. So let's do the triangle and then put the circle around it. Like so. And I don't know what that says. Must be a yield sign. Can't read it from here. And there's a little boy right here in the foreground, and I'm going to put him in too. So first I'm going to think about the angle of his head. He's really close in the foreground. So he's angled down like this. That's his chin. And then we can see his arm. So I'm just going to scroll so I can actually see the rest of him. We've got back of his shirt and his arm coming down. There's his sleeve here. And he's reaching to the ground with his arm, his hand. Maybe I'm going to put a little car here. I'm going to pretend he's playing with a car. I can't really tell what he is doing, but that's what I'm going to pretend what he's doing. And then over here we see his other leg. It's coming down. And then his foot. Okay, bye-bye, Susanna. Dad illustration. Oh, for Father's Day. Yeah, that's a good idea. Nice. Is that what you're going to do for your 3 Copic marker challenge? Now, see here. That was his arm. So his shoulders here. And it's going to come down. Back of his shirt. Curves in. This. Comes up. And then he's sitting like this. And we have his knee here. And then he's sitting on the curb. And the curb is coming out like this towards us. It's going out like this, away from us, and towards here. Okay, now this might be everything that I'm going to add before painting. Painting, my favorite part. So this is where it gets really fun because anything could happen. Anything could happen. I could add a couple more details here. There's this one thing that comes down from the roof, meets in the corner here, and it touches this part of the structure. And then we've got a couple of lines that come in from up here. So let's see. This corner, there's a line that comes like this. And there's another one from here. Comes like this. And this one seems to be holding up the thing like that. And then there is another one here above the back corner of that. So it comes from here and again on a line. And then we've got some random like cape cords that come off this. And anything else I should draw? Well, up here there's some posts. There's one on this edge here that's sort of falling down. And there's one that's coming out here that doesn't look as hard, worse for wear. And then there's a couple. Oh, they're just cracks, I think. Alright, so check it out. Check it out. Just a line over here. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Alright, so now I have to get my colors out. This is where it gets fun. This is where it gets fun, and anything could happen. Anything could happen. Okay, so I think I'm going to use these koi markers, paints. So to get them out. And this is a mixing tray. And these are the paints. I'm going to use my water brush. I've got a Sakura water brush that came with this kit. It has a little cap on it here so you can take it apart when you're not using it. And then you screw this on backwards. You know, that whole saying, righty, tighty, lefty, loosey, it does not apply to water brushes. It's backwards. Alright, so technically all I should need is what I have right here. Like I can clean this brush off on my sponge, and I can wet my paint with the water that's inside this brush. And I can do some mixing over here if I decide to do that. So let's get set up so that you can see everything. Let's put the paint on this side. Otherwise I'll end up dripping. Dripping. Okay, you can't see now. All you can see is the paint. Let me keep moving things here. Let me keep moving things. So, this should be good enough, I think, for everybody to be happy. All right. So, where should I start? I was going to start with the sky, because it's always the scariest part. Somehow the rest of it is not as scary. So, just still checking my angles here to see what you can see. Bear with me. So, there. Okay, that's pretty good. Let me just angle my webcam a little bit. See what that gives us. I've got a lag, so it's not always easy to see what you see. Okay, so here I go. Sky. So what I'm going to do first is I'm actually going to wet my paper to get the sky started. And I think I'm going to use a cerulean blue for the sky. But I'm going to start off with just water. So the sky is here in this little section right here. So that's way more water than I meant to put. Okay, let's try to spread that way more water out. But we actually have to dry it off. I actually have to dry it off because if it's wet right here, the water is going to take the paint there too. So now I'm going to try and do is just fill around the building with water. You can't see this, but there's water coming out of my brush because it's filled with water. And it's covering the paper. I'm just angling my head here so I can see where it's shiny in case I missed any areas. Okay, just dry that. Good. It's looking wet. The trick is to not get the water on the parts that you don't want the color to go in. So right now, I'm just trying to keep the sky from being too intense. And that's what this water is going to do. It's going to give me, instead of the paper absorbing the color as soon as I put it down, it's going to give it a little bit of an opportunity to spread around. So here I am, going in with the sky. The sky is blue. Yes, it is. So beautiful blue. It's like turquoise. Turquoise blue sky. Bring this in over here. So this is cerulean blue. What's my trick for the depth thing in painting? I think when it comes to painting and depth, you probably want to use color a fair bit to show how where the shadows are and how like things that are farther away have less detail and are often darker, blurrier. All right, so there's clouds in the sky, so keeping my paper wet here. And there are no clouds down here. This is just blue. Nothing but blue sky. I'm trying to keep it fairly light. I'm trying to keep my wash fairly light for the sky. Don't want it to be too dark. Now coming close around here. And then I'm going to do a little trick where I pick up some of the color with, hey, drawing way, nice to see you. Just going to pull up some color off of here to make these clouds a little bit more random, shall we say. Okay, so actually let's see if we can pull a cloud out of here as well. Yeah, sure. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is clean off my brush, get some of this color off of it, and going to stay away from the sky for a few minutes so I can work on colors without worrying about things blending in together. So I think I'll head for this car, which is a nice bright red. I'm going to go here with this red and check it. I'm going to check it. This is vermilion hue. I'm just looking for a scrap of watercolor paper, which sometimes hard to come by. Well, here, I'll just use my swatch. So I like this red for the car. Vermilion. Let's go for it. Now let's see, maybe move everything over a little bit so you can see the car, otherwise you won't see it. Let's see, that might be good. All right, so here I go. All right, red. Okay, so now I'm going to take some of the color off my brush, which is going to jump out of my hand. Take some of the color off my brush and just work with water while I bring this color down into the car. That will give it some, like a shiny appearance. And I'm going to just grab a different brush. Grabbing a dry brush so I can actually suck up some of the water that's on here, because it was getting to be too much. All right. So by sucking up the water, I'm able to control how much paint is on there. Wow, this brush. The water brush, it sometimes has more water coming out of it than you hope, because it's all coming down into the tip of the brush. So when you're doing really fine work like this, you might end up with more water than you really wanted. Because I'm getting used to these. This is not a kind of style of brush that I would have used before. All right, so we've got this done. We're gonna come into here in a minute. Maybe I'll throw this shadow in with a really nice dark color. So I see blue in that shadow, and I'm gonna go with maybe this Prussian blue, I think. Prussian blue. So I'm gonna put this on pretty thick. So it comes all the way to the edge of the car, like this. So that's the edge of my shadow. And then it comes along the building, bumps up, bumps up, bumps up, going to pretend that the boy is in the shadow, but he's not. I mean, that the shadow comes to there. In the actual picture, you'll see that the shadow is slightly less protrudent on the street scene, but that's just the way I ended up drawing it. All right, so here we have this dark, shadowy street. Keep filling it in. Now, as it gets closer, it looks more gray, so I'm just going to pick up a little bit of Payne's gray and mix that in with my blue. Bring it all the way to the front here. And make sure that doesn't dry. That was too much. So the paper that I'm using is really not the best quality of paper. I could use to spend some money on paper, but I'm new at this, so I'm still working it out. And I wasn't really sure when I got started if I was going to even like it, so I didn't want to spend a fortune on paper and stuff. So I just got started with this. Now, this sidewalk is also in shadow, but it has a much more muted gray color. So I'm just going to get some really watered down gray. I'm going to fill it in through here, like so. So this is the sidewalk in shadow. Just a tiny bit more color. And I'm going to avoid the stairs for now. And I'm really going to avoid the wheelbarrow, which is tricky. It's tricky. And this shadow goes right into the door. So I'm going to take the shadow with me into the doorway. And like so. All right. Bring some of the color with me. I successfully avoided the wheelbarrow. And I think I need some sky in that little section. So I'm super cleaning off my brush, making sure I don't have any right here. I need a little bit of sky. It has to be super pale. So I'm just going to touch a little bit of blue in there. Like so. I have to be careful to let that dry before I come back to it. Otherwise, I'll be disappointed. But I think I am ready now to put in some color for the water. So I'm going to switch over to my ultramarine deep. I'm going to put that in here. So first I'm just going to wet it down a little bit, avoiding the street sign. I'm going to bring in this ultramarine deep and put this in for the water. I know we always think of the water in Cuba as being turquoise, but you know, in some angles, it's not so much. This is one of those angles. All right, a little more. Okay. Father-son illustrations. Nice. I'm holding my breath. Is that crazy? It's a good thing I don't do this all day, or I would like suffocate. Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay, so we've got the ocean and the sky. We've got a little bit of ocean back here. We've got the sky. Now we're going to have the road and this little section, but I'm going to try and let this dry before I get in on this part. So I think I'm ready to kind of do these little shadowy parts of the building. And I'm going to use burnt umber for that, and maybe a little bit of gray, but this is the darkest part of the actual painting. So I'm going to just bring in some dark, actually burnt umber, yes, a little bit more burnt than that umber. And I'm going to leave this out for a second because that's the lighter part. When my brush gets a little bit less intensely covered in paint, that would be a good time to go over that. Maybe even on a second coat. So there's something here going on that's like grills maybe. And they come down like this. And over here, we've got this darkness, and over here. That's pretty good. I can always darken it up. You can always add more paint. It's hard to take away paint. So for now, I'm just going to leave that. And then I'm going to come over here and do the shadow on the edge of this rock, which is more of a gray than a brown. So let's see here. Come along the edge like this. And like this. I have to keep my eye on the time as I have an appointment, but it's not for another 45 minutes or so. So I'm not late yet. And then these stairs. This is Payne's Gray. And then that top step is more of a stone color. So I'm going to go true to life there and leave it ungrayed. And then what else? There's some like splotchy gray stuff up here. I might add that later. There's a bit of gray here where these railings are. So let's put that in, but let's make it watery. So let's see what we got going on here. I feel like that is, yes, that's perfect. So gray between the bricks. So I'm trying to work this so that I have a time lapse as well. So I'm filming it two ways, through my webcam and also through my regular camera phone. I'm having a hard time with my phone though. Gosh, I have to tell you, it's not making me very happy. I'm trying my best not to cause a stink on social media, but wow, the company I'm dealing with is not making it easy for me. People, you guys want to hear a phone rant? I've got a phone rant. Oh my gosh. I'll tell you what the story. I won't tell you what the company is just yet. But basically what happened was the part where you listen when you're having a phone conversation stopped working on my phone. So I brought the phone in to have it repaired. It's only about 10 months old. It's got a really good camera. It made it hard for me to do any videos while I was gone because I had this stupid loaner phone that didn't have a really good camera. So I was stuck with doing whatever I could with that other phone. And so when I got the phone back, they called me from the cell phone provider where I had brought it to have it sent in for repairs. They called me and said my phone was ready. I should come pick it up. So I went to go pick up my phone. When I got there, I discovered that the screen was smashed. Yeah, while they had my phone, they smashed my screen. So I was unhappy about that. When I sent the phone off, the screen was not smashed. When I got the phone back, the screen was smashed. So I figured that wasn't my fault that the screen was smashed since I sent a phone in without a smashed screen. But then they proceeded to tell me that I was not covered under the warranty for the phone because I had voided the warranty by repairing the screen 1 month after I got it, which is true. I repaired the screen 1 month after I got the phone because the screen was smashed. I dropped it. Not far. Tiny little drop, great big smash. That happens, right? That's okay. I was fine with that. I paid for the repair. But apparently that voids your warranty. And I guess I didn't know that. Nobody really asked me about it when I brought the phone in, so I didn't even think to tell them. Oh, okay. When you get paint on your hand, you can't put it back on the painting until the paint is dry. Okay, better. Yeah, so it's still telling the phone story. Watercolor brush tips for beginners. Okay, I will tell you that when I'm finished with the story of my stupid phone. Yeah, so in fact, not only was the screen smashed, but the problem that the phone was having when I brought it in the first place was not repaired. Because it was not under warranty any longer. They said that I didn't reply to their quote that they sent me, and like they didn't send me a quote, which is why I didn't reply. I wanted the phone fixed. Of course I would have said yes, that sounds exorbitant, but please fix my phone. But I did not receive any kind of quote, so I could not respond to the quote. Therefore, I got back a phone that went away with no smash and came back with giant smash and also not fixed. And then they're telling me that they are not going to replace my phone. I could send it back for repairs, but like I'm sort of skeptical. I sent it for repairs once already and it came back broken, more broken. So if I'm going to get it fixed, I'm not going to send it to them for fixing. Does that sound pretty reasonable? I think it does. I don't think I'm being unreasonable by saying that I don't want those people to fix my phone. I don't want them to touch my phone ever again. So that's my very sad phone story. All that is to say, I use my phone for filming overhead views. Okay, water brush tips for beginners. 1, don't squeeze this unless you're trying to wet your paints. If you're trying to add water to your paints, go right ahead, squeeze it. But if you are trying to paint an area that isn't going to be really faint, you want to not have a whole lot of water coming out of your brush. So you need to be careful to not squeeze it. That is the first tip. The second tip is expect your paint to be a little lighter than if you just used it straight off the pan. And let's see, another tip. When I'm doing brush work, I only ever have just the one brush. So you have to kind of get used to what kind of tips you can get. And when you're doing little detail work, you might want to have a second brush with you just to make that go easier. Okay, so I'm not going to do this little skinny part because that seems like it's going to be tricky. But I do want to do the sandy colors for the road here and the sidewalk. So that's a little tricky too. I'm going to use the yellow ochre, and I'm going to make it really watery. So over here, I am squeezing a little water onto my palette, just to give this color. So let's move this over a little bit so you can see. Just to give this color some dilution. So if I dilute it, then it won't be quite as shocking when I put it out. All right, so now I'm going to go along the edge of the water, which is dry, and I'll start back here and fill this in. Now, it always does dry lighter than you see it. So the other day I painted a sky, which I expected to have more color than it ended up with. But that's because when it was wet, it looked blue. When it dried, it looked kind of white. All right. So I'm also dragging a little bit of this color along. And the great thing about water brushes is you always have water right there. You don't have to go dipping for it every time you want to add more to clean your, like you're always, if you're using a traditional brush, you have to frequently clean your brush in order to keep the colors pure. But when you're using a water brush, it is a little bit self-cleaning because the water is always pushing out of the brush. So you always have water right there at your disposal. So I'll grab a little more color. And where will I put it? That's the question. Manor Mysteries. Hey, how are you? Nice to see you. Where are you from? That's the question of the day. Where are you from? I don't think Rohan told me where he was from. I'm trying to remember. Oh, so as bad as I am with names, I'm worse with places. Sorry about that. I think he did tell me. I'm just trying to remember. All right. So here we have the sidewalk. Now, I think there's some darkness. I'm just looking at the actual picture right now, and I see a little bit of darkness in here along sort of this edge of the road. I'm just going to put that in with a little extra yellow ochre, which is not the color that I see in the picture, but it's the most reasonable color to put without giving this picture unnecessary amounts of shadows, because that's be distracting. Okay, now I'm going to do the boy's skin. So I'm going to use this light red, which is kind of like a burnt sienna, with a little bit of yellow, maybe yellow ochre. That looks, I like it. Okay, so there's not much flesh here, but I'm going to try and keep my brush just on here. So leg and arm and other leg and face. Now I'm also going to take some of this away because it's dark. So I'm going to take my dry brush and I'm just going to pull. So I really just want a faint layer. When you're painting skin, you don't want it to be like opaque color. So you want the water to help you with that. And pull this off. And I might even water it down a little bit as well. So what I will do here is clean my brush off and then go back with my tip. So when I touch this pen, this water brush, I won't call it a pen because it feels like I'm using a pen, it's wet all the time. So right now I'm just scrubbing a little bit to pull off the too much paint that I added. Well, it's still wet, you can do that. All right, getting there. Yes, we are. Okay, now he is wearing some dark shorts, so a nice Prussian blue here for the shorts, and I'm going on with full color here because these are dark, except my paint is not very wet. India, and it's midnight. Okay. Well, you should go to bed, Rohan. You can watch this later. No, you can stay and watch it. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Really, I'm not. And then there's some shadows under here. So it's going to give this little shadow. And I have a shoe sticking out over here. That's true. Now we get a little shadow here also from his head. And what else do I need? Shadow behind him, but I need maybe a gray for that. So I'll pick up a gray, and I don't want to do it because I'm worried about running it in the pants, but I'll do it anyway. Taking chances. So that's another tip for watercolors is, you can't, if you don't want your colors to like blend into each other, you have to not touch wet things until they're dry. And then they're all wet, right? All right, so then we have this dark wheel on the wheelbarrow. So let's clean the brush off, get all of the paint off of it, and just grab some really straight up Payne's Gray. Just pop that into this wheel. You can always go over this after with pen when it's done. Okay, so what else? What else? We need to do the building. Now I see if I look at the Instagram, there's a little bit of like reddish color coming in through here and here, and then also down the side of this shadow. So I'm going to take advantage of that, and I'm going to use this. It's called light red, but again, to me, it's more like a burnt sienna. And I'm going to mix that with my raw umber just a little bit. No, with my I'll get the name for it. Yellow ochre. Yeah. Does anyone else have a hard time talking while I do things like this? Man, it's like I don't have a brain. Concentrating so hard. And then there's red up here too. A little bit of red in this section. I don't know why it's red up there. It's rust maybe, or some kind of situation. There's a bit of red in here. Comes right up. All right, so that's the extent of the serious red. I just have this hint of it along this line here too, so let's put that in first. Okay, we're getting there. We're almost done. Almost done. We need the light wash for the entire thing. Now, there's a little bit of gray over here. So let's just pull some gray down this edge, up under here. This has a gray look about it. Grayish, more gray than everything else. And where did I find that? So I've been mixing on my tray here, and I'm trying to keep my colors reasonably organized, but I think I forgot where I just picked that up. In fact, I know I forgot. All right, looking. What am I going to do next here? Got some dark in there. I made a little more gray. That's where I got it, right there. A little more gray. So as this archway, there's some dirt down here. Some dirt down here. Okay, I need more of that gray. That's a good gray. this is good for like texture. So I'm just dabbing here. I'm not really being particular. I just want it to have a roughness about it that gives it the feeling that it's a little bit in need of some TLC. TLC. Oh, there's a dark part there. Bring that in. DACA. Quick question. What's good? Kneaded or plastic eraser? Okay, good question. A plastic eraser has a tendency to rub off the tooth of your paper. So if your paper is really sturdy and you really need to get a line off, then plastic eraser should be your friend, should be no problem. However, the nature of the plastic eraser is that it can destroy your paper. So sometimes better to opt for a kneaded and then just roll it on your paper to pick up your lines. It won't be quite as efficient necessarily at pulling off what you don't want, which is actually why I'm trying to do this work here without any, like I didn't use pencil when I started this picture. I went straight into using this pen. Oh, speaking of pens, I didn't put the cover on. It's been sitting there for half an hour with the cover off. Yeah, I'm trying to work. Looking at the picture, I'm going to add a little yellow there. You see that? There's some yellow right up here in this little window. This little cast of, I don't know why, it's yellowy up here. I'm going to roll my screen down again so I can see that stuff at the top. Let's see here. Okay. We're going. I think we're almost to the part where we're just going to need this wash of really faint. Really, really faint. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted. So I didn't want any lines to show. That's better, but not what I wanted. It's okay. No mistakes, just happy accidents. You know who said that? You guys, Bob Ross fans. So the kneaded eraser will do less damage on your art, on your paper, as you're working with that. But it won't necessarily be as good at pulling off. So that's sort of the why of each. Yeah. Since I've drawn Kim Possible, would I draw Shago too? That's a possibility. And I'm saying hello to Om Tiwari. Om Tiwari. That's a very cool username. All right, so I think I'm ready. I've got my watered down yellow ochre, and I'm going to start painting all of the rest of this. I'm just going to wash the whole thing out here. The whole thing. I hope I don't run out. I'm going to make some more so I don't run out. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm just making a little puddle of watered down color, because even though my water brush continues to add color, I really, really want this to be just a wash. I don't want it to be full on. This color is a little bit opaque in the first place, so that means it does cover up like pen or whatever's underneath it. So I'm going to pick up some of that and put it on here and through here and through here. And I'm washing it right over all of these grays that I did. And when I do watercolor, I don't want to stay in the lines. It's not, my goal is not to paint within the lines. I think watercolor looks really good when it's a little bit haphazard. And I ran out. Can you believe it? As much as I did not want to run out, I still did. Yeah, I think watercolor looks best when it's doing its own thing, when you don't try to control it too much. So that's what I do. Oh, except I'm smudging there. Okay, now I see some areas that need more depth of shadow. So that's what I'm going to do next. But I'm going to let it dry a little bit. I'm gonna let it dry a little bit. Maybe I'll go and take care of this post. And something needs to happen over here on the car as well. So what I'm gonna do is get a little bit of light gray. And I'm just gonna add some light gray on the car here so it doesn't look quite so unfinished. That will give it a look of somebody painted that. And same thing with the boy's shirt. He's got a little bit of shadow down here. And then I'm going to fix his hair with my pen because there's no way I'm doing that with watercolor. Let's see. Questions? Manchester. I think my comment kept disappearing because I put a flag. Oh, if you put a flag, yeah, it means like you flagged your comment because it meant that like that's a bad comment. No one should read that. So don't flag yourself. So you're from near Manchester. That's cool. So I'm actually going to be visiting England this summer. I'm looking forward to it. I have never been, so that should be fun for me. If you have any tips on things to do and see, I'll be mostly in the London area, but I wouldn't want to miss anything important. I want to see the Greenwich Meridian. I want to see Stonehenge. And then all the London things, you know, Harry Potter tour, Eye of London. I don't know, might go see where the royals live. I'm not that into royal things, but, you know, can't hurt if you're there. You might as well check it out. All right, so here I go, adding some more shadows. This needs to really deepen under here. It's like totally in shadow. So going straight up to Payne's Gray there. I usually try to avoid gray in paintings. Like my shadows here are not gray. They're blue because more the sky is causing them. But this building is made of stone. So I feel like gray is a good choice. As much as I would maybe add other colors some of the time. I put a little bit of blue up here because I see it in the picture. I'm almost done. Yeah, almost. Sometimes when it's dry, I see more things I want to do. And then I add them later. Then I add them later. Okay, let's see. I added this bit of shadow, and there's a little bit of detail up there. Oh, look, I missed all this. This is really, should be quite dark along the edge here. And this one too. Okay. Okay. All right, so what does it need? Anybody got any ideas what this needs? Maybe a little bit more something up there. Maybe a little more texture through here. Yeah, I'm just gonna pull some other texture into this front. Stipple it a little bit. Pop it up. I just didn't want to do that at first because you can always add color, but you cannot take it away. That's the tricky thing. So I'm just going to thank you guys for joining me. I'm almost done here. I'm going to be signing out soon. It was kind of fun. It's way better than sitting here by myself painting. Well, I am sitting here by myself. It's way better than having no one to chat with while I painted. Better say that. So maybe I'll do this again. Maybe. Now that I figured out how, that was the challenge, right? In software, I had to like set up a camera and set up a screen share and then figure out the streaming settings because that's never seems as easy as it should be somehow. I'm not technically ignorant, but sometimes I feel that way. I always blame the people who set it up as not really looking at the right way for users to understand it, but it's probably me. It's probably me. I'm really likely the cause of the problem. Okay, so are paper stumps good or best? Paper stumps are good if you need to blend. Yeah, if you've got some pencil work and you want to blend. Pencil stumps are better than your finger because you don't put oil on your paper. But in a pinch, I will use a finger. Okay. Now, to finish this painting, I feel like I need to splatter some color on here. And this kind of turquoise blue of the sky is like the awesomest color in the whole picture. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to possibly destroy this picture by getting a whole bunch of it on this brush. And then I'm going to hit the brush and cause the color to go on the picture. Are you ready for it? Could be big blobs. Hope not. Hope not. Maybe no blobs. Come on. Yeah, no blobs. Let's try a little more water. Here we go. A little more color. A little more color, a little more water. Try again. Oh yeah. There we go. So, you know, it's such a casual picture. It should have like splatters. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing with my ochre. What do you think of that? What do you think of splatters on the picture? Is that good or bad? I mean, to me, like, it just feel like it hides a whole bunch of mistakes. So, Man or Mysteries, I'm really glad you tried the Compossible, and I used to be really bad at drawing too. There was a day when I was not good at drawing, but I did a lot of drawing and got better at it. I just hit myself in the nose with watercolors. Okay, that's probably enough splatters, otherwise it's going to get, like, monopolizing the painting. Okay, it's done. So do like I did when I was a little kid. You know, it's like, I painted this art. What do you think? All right, so as soon as it's dry, I'm going to sign my name on the bottom and put the date on there, and I'll answer a couple more questions if there's any before I actually am finished and done. Stop my camera. Nope, there are no more questions. I think I answered all the questions now. There is a lag. So I will pop out a couple of answers into the chat if you ask me any questions worth responding to. But I'm really glad you joined me today because, yeah, art's fun. I would love to see what you're up to for art. You can post something on Instagram and tag me. I'll be able to find it. I'm Doodle Draw Art on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and YouTube. So thanks for watching, and I'm going to try and figure out how to turn the screen off. So yeah, might not be hard. Might be impossible. We're going to find out. I think I just have to click the button that says